So, believe it or not, it's taken about 6 months for me to start this podcast. I've actually shot it 3 or 4 times and ended up just tossing the footage because I felt like things were changing too fast, or that I just didn't have anything useful to say. Things were happening so quickly that I felt like anytime I'd say something, I felt like it was just outdated a week later. And that's just sort of the nature of the world that we're in. I originally wanted to create this as an AI podcast, but really, as time's gone on, I've felt less interest in doing it because I thought, yeah, there are a lot of voices out there, and what do I really have to offer? Until recently, I've noticed that there's been an ongoing trend to demonize AI, to make it into some kind of evil thing that's been created to subjugate the masses and to shift the power even more so into the hands of a few. And it's kind of interestingly, with the announcement of Mythos, we see shortly after someone attacked Sam Altman's house. I guess someone threw a Molotov cocktail at his home. I think there are a lot of things to say about this. Just a little background on me. I've been a professional software engineer for over 25 years. I have been a platform and architect level engineer for 20 of those years. Even me, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm constantly teetering between delusions of grandeur, thinking of all the things that I could build and everything I can do, and existential crisis. Because the truth is, the world as I know it is literally changing under my feet. I used to think that I could predict what was happening because I was on the ground on a lot of things, and from a technological standpoint. And now, for the last, I would say, year and a half, especially in the last 4 months, things are changing faster than I realize. And I know I'm not the only one who's experiencing this. But on one hand, I feel like it's scary. It's just, there's no way around it. It's scary. But on the other hand, I feel like this tremendous hope inside. I feel like this might be our chance to change the way the world works. And the reason the reason why I'm saying this is I think back to all the times there have been major changes throughout history. What really was the start of that, or when a major war was won or something like that? What was it? It was engineers, scientists, mathematicians, inventing something, creating something, discovering something that gives society options that it didn't have before. When I think about AI, I don't feel like it's any different in that way, except it's kind of on a different level of discovery. For the first time in history, we have a machine that we can put money into or put energy into, and out comes reasoning, out comes thoughts. And the thoughts are pretty good. I mean, they're at like human level and better than most humans. So that's pretty amazing. So what does this mean for all of us? Are we going to lose our jobs? Well, you could say, yeah, we're going to lose our jobs. The jobs are going to change. But the question I ask myself is, instead of thinking about what jobs are going to be lost, what about on the other side of it? What about the opportunities that can actually be created as a result of this? Here's what I mean. What we know is that it's going to take less people to run a company. It's going to take less people to start a company. It's going to take less startup capital than ever before to start a company. If that's the case, then why don't we all start to pick up the shovel? Why don't we start building why don't we start competing directly? It's actually the large company that should feel the most threatened, because most likely they have a lot of legacy work, legacy product. Their product is likely going to need to change significantly, and they've got all these existing customers, and those customers are going to probably want new things. And if they can't adapt fast enough because they're slow, they haven't figured out how to balance the baggage of maintaining an existing very successful business and building the new thing, it's likely that someone could steal the business right out from underneath them. Like, it used to be that if you had some kind of business application, transitioning off of it would be really challenging because all of your data is in that company's service. But now with large language models, it's actually easier to just transition from one system to another, to migrate from one system to another. And that's another thing that I think a lot about. It's like, well, what happens when people come up with a completely different paradigm? They offer it at a small fraction of the cost because they have a tiny team, and they offer migration support, and it's free and it's easy. What then? Well, I think that's the key. The key is, can we as individuals let AI work for us? Instead of fighting against AI and saying it's going to take away our jobs, why don't we just start building? If I tell all of my friends, even ones that are not technical, especially the ones that are technical, I tell them, look, if you don't have a membership in one of the major AI platforms like a Claude Max account or like an OpenAI membership, you're losing out. If you don't have that, you better go get it now, I guess is what I'm saying. If you don't have a membership, and especially if you're an engineer, if you're a software engineer, any kind of engineer, if you don't have a Claude Code membership with a Claude Max account or one of the others, I mean, if you use anti-gravity or whatever it is, if you don't have the ability to build at a high level using these tools because maybe you don't want to give money to Anthropic or OpenAI or Google or whoever, it's your loss, because these tools are incredibly inexpensive and they are competing on, they're actually racing to the bottom on costs. So that's all opportunity for us. And I know that there's a huge open source movement, and that's really exciting. And I hope that one day there is no major company that owns all this stuff, that everything's open source. But we're not there yet. The truth is, the best models are closed. And while you can tinker around and use open source models for experiments and projects, specialized use cases, you got to use one of the major platforms. So, the truth is, the fear is real, but so is the opportunity. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to start putting out more videos. I don't know if anyone's going to watch this. I actually am just doing this really because I've been feeling a tremendous sense of responsibility to say something about this. And while I know there are some folks out there, it's not completely new what I'm saying, there's definitely, I feel like, this perspective that we can all leverage, that we can all use AI to our advantage to create a new world, to potentially change the way our economy works as a whole, is something that we're not talking about enough. So I'll be putting out some videos over the next few weeks that just talk about exactly how we can do this. How can we as a community, how can we as everyday people, not necessarily the billionaires of the world, how can we use these tools to create freedom? Because I think AI is not evil. It's a power, and its power has duality. You can use it for good, and you can use it for evil. You can use it to control people, to monitor people. You can use it to subjugate people, to silence people. You can concentrate power with it. But if we all, nothing's stopping us from all using these tools to basically just rebuild the world the way we want. And that's what I see. And that's what I'm most excited about. So anyway, this is just the beginning. And I plan to talk more about this over the coming weeks. Thanks.